Okay, we got to bring people up to date. We told you a couple months ago we had Mr. Walter Hoye, who'd been charged with this asinine charge out in California. This is an outrage. I don't care what anybody says about it. This man's standing in front of an abortion clinic with a sign that says nothing more than "Let us help you."
Help your baby.
Say, God loves you.
Let us help you.
Let us help.
That's all the signs
on public
on a
property.
public sidewalk. And he gets convicted under this rule, this law that they passed out there. And last month we told people that he had indeed been convicted, and now he's been sentenced. And Johnny, why don't you bring us up to date on?
30 days.
Yeah, 30 days. So they actually handcuffed him in the courtroom and laid him out. But one of the
let's make sure people understand.
Okay.
For holding a sign that says "Let us help you" on a public sidewalk.
And that's without him saying anything to anybody.
Right.
Just standing there.
And now he's in jail.
And now he's in jail.
As we speak.
As we speak. And it's been very disturbing. The audience may not know it. We've had to start this segment a couple of times only because we're so upset about the whole thing. But the truth of it is there's a pastor that we're bringing in today. I'm so glad to introduce him to you, named Dion Evans. He's the pastor of Chosen Vessels Christian Church. And at Walter's previous sentencing, this pastor was so upset and outrageous with what the judge was doing, he stood up and started preaching in the courtroom.
During the sentencing?
During the sentence. I mean, Pastor Broden told me, he said, when Pastor Evans finished preaching, he said that judge was very nervous and upset. They got 6 bailiffs to escort him out. But this is a dynamic pastor. He knew he was risking jail that day, but the injustice was so bad that he could no longer be silent. And now that Walter's in jail, this is now the pastor that's the point man that is beginning to stand up for this. I hate to call it injustice. It's worse than injustice. Yeah. I wish there was another word put it. But I do want to introduce to you Pastor Dion Evans from California.
Hello, Pastor Evans.
Hello, how are you doing?
Fine, sir. How are you? Thanks for joining us today.
Doing great.
Thanks for joining us today, and thank you for what you're doing on behalf of Walter Evans, who is one of the Mr. Hoye, who's one of the kindest, most gentle people that you'll ever meet. And this is, and you know what makes me so angry about this is the press won't cover it, and yet if this were, say, a gay rights situation, this would be the lead story on the evening news. Do you think so, Pastor Evans?
Oh, it's been proven so. There's so many things going on in Oakland right now, and it's like there's a conspiracy not to deal with this issue. So what we've done is say, look, YouTube and Tango.com, places like that, some of these service sites for videos, they reach far more people in the nation and in the community than the local newspapers anyway. So what no local newspapers won't do, we've created an infrastructure to make sure the information gets out anyway.
Well, what are the plans now to defend Mr. Hoye?
Well, what we're doing right now is we're preparing what we call action strategy sessions. There'll be several of them taking place. And there's 2 purposes in the action strategy sessions. Number 1, to create a demonstration at the clinic that will overwhelm the clinic. And number 2, to create a demonstration dealing with Oakland City Council. And we want to be very calculated as how we go about these demonstrations because we want them to make a serious impact. And we want to be able to do them without anyone going to jail. But everyone who's going to be a part of these processes does not have a problem at all with going to jail. Walter has led the way with that.
Right. Well, you made a statement I heard that kind of sums the thing up when you told the judge about dealing with Hoye versus dealing with you. What was that?
Well, I told not only the judge, but the judge heard me telling those who were part of the pro-death issue that you were doing you had an easier job dealing with Walter Hoye because Pastor Hoye is like Martin Luther King in his peacefulness. And I said, now you got to deal with me, who's a little more like Malcolm X, with Dr. King's message.
Bow tie and all.
So while we were in the courtroom, when they were sentencing him, the judge tried to give him an opportunity not to go to jail by accepting a stay away. And Walter would not accept that because it was really, in the end, the court trying to force him to give up his free rights to speech. Hoye said he would not give up his free rights to speech anywhere. And so one of the ladies in the courtroom on the pro-death side said he's trying to be a martyr. And I heard her say it because I sat on their side on purpose. And I said, no, he is. And then that's when I was able to tell them, I said, it was much easier for you guys dealing with him. But now you're going to have to deal with me. It's going to be a little different action.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that we've got a guy who's a man of action here.
Yes.
And he is a man of action. And I had the privilege of meeting Pastor Evans in person. So when you hear him talk, people need to understand this guy is not bluffing.
Right.
This is no bluff. Now they put one pastor in jail, standing there holding a sign. Now they're going to deal with Pastor Evans and a whole bunch of folks.
Are they going to put them all in jail?
Hey.
Pastor Evans,
Well,
is there any talk about taking this to Supreme Court, trying to appeal this? I know Life Legal Defense Foundation was representing Walter, but I mean, what's the next action legally for him?
Well, Life Legal Defense Foundation is doing several things. The two that I know most intimately about is one, to go before the courts to deal with the legal ramifications of this law. They're trying to strike this law out, and we believe on appeal it will be tossed out. At the same time, to relook at Walter's sentencing and all of the legal aspects of that, is even down to the issues of what the judge did and did not do, said and did not say to the jury. Because following the sentence, when some of the jurors found out some of the things that they had found out, they said, well, we wish we would have had that instruction. Yeah. So there were some who were already remorse about that. Plus, Life Legal Defense Foundation felt that it should have been a unanimous decision. And it was less than unanimous. And that, then they turned around and wanted to sentence him.
I want to know.
And they offered him many opportunities to not go to jail. But Walter, in the spirit of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and in the spirit of Daniel, basically looked at the judge and said, look, I'm not going to bow down to unjust laws. You do what you do, God will do what he does, and I'm just going to be obedient to the processes of God. And to be a Christian and to be a black man in that courtroom was a blessing to see him stand for the Lord that way.
Pastor Evans, I want to know if Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson have shown up to help you with this.
Well, because Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson received monies from Planned Parenthood, I doubt that they can really stand with me.
Right.
Although they used to be pro-life.
Although both of them claimed to be pro-life at one time. Well, thank you so much.
Jesse was very pro-life at one time until I think they caught him in a hallway and gave him a check.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Thank you, Pastor.
Well, thank you
so much.
Pastor Evans, thank you so much, and thank you for what you're doing, and be sure and keep us posted on what's going on.
Wonderful.
Thank you for being with us today, sir.
All right, take care.
Good luck to you. See, that's what we need. That's a man. Walter Hoye's a man. And the pro-life movement is going to have to, at some point, stand up and act like adults, because I get so tired of pro-lifers just saying, okay, we're just going to continually turn the other cheek. There comes a point at which you have to turn around and say, that's it. You can push me so far, but I'm not going an inch further.
That's it. And Mark, you notice, too, he said, I sit on the other side. Right. Once again, here you got blacks that operate a little different than the regular pro-life movement would do. That's why I love have Christian here, because the young folks, they think differently than the rest of us do. And because of that, the enemy's got to deal with some strategy. Put one guy in jail, and now, I don't know if you really caught what he was saying. When you meet this guy, you know he's not bluffing. When he says, well, we're not planning to go to jail. However, everybody going out there
is willing to go to jail.
Is willing.
Right, exactly.